Good evening.
Session. So, good evening and welcome you all to this session on this emerging trends in project management. And first of all, I would like to thank all of you for joining this session. And I hope that all of you will have a wonderful learning experience. So I have divided this session into three parts. The first one is I just give a brief introduction about the Project Management Institute, PMI, and the PMP certification. So how it has evolved and how it has become very popular now for the benefit of those people who have not really been knowing about it. And then recently there was a major change in the project management approach as per the PMI, the PMP. So what are the major changes? So how it has impacted the project management as such. So that I will have a clear explanation about this, what has really changed. And then about what is the future, in future, what is likely to happen, right? So first about the PMI and PMP, some introduction, then what has really changed in the last 3-4 years as for the PMP examination certification, and what actually is the emerging trend for the future. And then I will also give a small brief about how at our institute, iCubes, how we are helping the people to just become the certified PMPs. So what type of help or support you are giving to the people. So these are the three areas I will cover today. First, I will start with what is PMP. So PMP is actually globally recognized certification. So it is a project management professional. So it is the most sought after certification in the field of project management worldwide. So around more than 85% of the project managers who have a project management certification, they have the PMP certificate, right? So even though there are some other PMP project management certification courses, like the Prince2 and AIPM and all, but the PMP is actually the way ahead of all the other project management certification across the globe. And this certification is not really very popular in a particular field. It is actually applicable, it is popular in all the fields, like irrespective of whether you are a project manager in a software development company or a IT service company or a construction, oil and gas, manufacturing, especially the research and development, healthcare, and so on. So everywhere, all the different domains and verticals, this PMP certification is quite recognized. So the PMP certificate is awarded by the Project Management Institute, PMI, which was founded in 1969 in Philadelphia, USA. So the original, it is actually a non-profit organization. The main purpose of starting the PMI is to give world-class guidelines for managing the project management. So for improving the project management excellence across the globe. So that is the main purpose of PMI. And they have been doing it in an extremely great manner till now. So even though the PMI was started in 1969, the PMP certification was first launched in 1984. And then it started as a very small initiative. Now it has gone exponentially into a massive certification program. And as of 2018, over 2.1 million professionals have been certified as PMP across 200 plus countries. So that's a great demand for the PMP certification across the globe. So the global benchmark, so where there are other certifications like Prince2, etc., PMP remains the gold standard due to its focus on practical application, strategic alignment, and global recognition. So whereas the other project management certifications, they are more theoretical. So they ask in those examinations, you will answer some long answer questions, maybe 10 mark or 15 mark questions, something you have to write it. So here, whereas in PMP examination, all the questions are multiple choice questions. So which will test your real understanding of all the concept. So until unless you have understood all the concepts very deeply, you may not be able to answer them correctly. So that is the reason it is very popular, because once you are PMP certified, then the employees can be 100% assured that they have got a very um, great project manager who has all the project management knowledge, right? So this focuses on the practical application and strategic alignment. Again, that is what is one of the major changes that has happened in the last 4 years. So how the project is going to be aligned to the strategic objectives of the company. So that is going to be a very important part in the project management as per the latest version. And we will be learning about that in depth shortly from now. So why actually a individual, a professional should PMP get the PMP certification? So in order to, first thing is in order to get the project management skills. So you will get a exposure to mainstream thinking. So that means whatever the latest concepts are emerging in the PMP examination, in the field of project management. So you'll be able to get aware of once you become the PMP, right? So you'll be like exposed to all the webinars and the seminars PMI will conduct, and then you will be always in touch with all the project management professionals, so that you will always be having the latest knowledge on what is happening in project management. So mainstream thinking and current trends. So aligns your hard skills with the global best practices. So nowadays, again, the project manager, they are supposed to manage people and manage the project across the globe, right? So across the different time zones, across the different geographical locations, and so on. So getting the PMP certification will give a lot of confidence in tackling all those complex situations. Gain knowledge to manage the project better. So as a project manager, you will get a very confident, lot of confidence once you clear the PMP exam. The second thing is the PMP will help you to get an identity. So it is a formal display of your professional ability. So if you are a PMP certified professional, then you have a respect for that, because not all the people who are taking the PMP exam will clear it. So only the cream of the people who have thoroughly prepared and understood the concept, they only will clear the exam. So it builds the professional and social reputation. So within the organization and outside the organization in society, definitely it will give a different reputation. So it boosts your self-confidence as a project manager. Career gives you a significant edge in the global market. So there is always obviously there is a very big difference between the professionals who are managing the project and the PMP professionals who are managing the project. So definitely there is a difference is there. So typically it varies from 20 to 35% depending upon the country. In India, it stands at around 35%. So the same means two people with a similar exposure and similar credentials, and one is PMP certified and the other is not PMP certified. The difference in salary will be around 35%. So that is what is the survey. I will be showing the link in the next slide. So that's what the latest survey is saying. So, and the PMP credential also help the employees also win more business, because again, these certifications are extremely popular in the countries like USA and Europe. So if your head office or if your customers are in USA or Europe, and they are running an offshore project in India or any other country like Middle East or Africa, then they would like to communicate and the project to be managed by a PMP certified professional, right? Because they clearly understand the difference, and then they always prefer the projects to be run by PMP certified professionals. So there is always a demand for the PMP certified professionals in those marketplaces. And the last one, the reason is the networking. So once you get the PMP and then join the PMI chapters, you take the membership, then you are going to get a lot of networking opportunity. So again, in your own city, in your own place, a lot of webinars and seminars will be happening. There will be a lot of online sessions will be happening. A lot of materials will be like delivered to your mail. So that will give you a lot of opportunities will open up. Even the employment opportunities or any other freelancing project management opportunities and so on. A lot of opportunities will get opened up. So again, you will be able to connect and mentor the PMP aspirant, and you will also be able to join the online communities to improve your career. So these are the major advantages of becoming a PMP certified professional. So why become a professional project manager now? So for the last maybe 15, 20 years, the need for the PMP certified professionals are increased exponentially. So the companies don't just want project managers. They want certified professionals who can lead complex and high impact projects. So just like that, only for the namesake, they don't want the project's manager. They want a highly professional and qualified and certified professional. So they should run the project. So that's what is their expectation. And the global talent gap, as per the PMA report, is by 2035, the world will need another 30 million more project professionals, right? So that's what is the communication. I have given the link also. I will share this PowerPoint presentation to you, so you can have a look at it. And again, as I told you, the survey findings highlight a 35% salary advantage for PMP certified professionals, especially in India. So bridging the gap between the industry needs and talents, PMP certified professionals are among the most sought after in India every year. PMP is the world's most recognized credential to prove your skills and credibility. So again, as I told you, once you clear the exam, the sense of pride what you are going to get. So nothing in the world is going to be equal to that. Right? I can guarantee because I have experienced that myself maybe 15 years ago. So again, this is what is the report, survey report that's given. So you can clearly see that the average, depending upon the experience, then the how the salary is different. So you can see that roughly around 35% is the difference between the PMP and the non-PMP project. So that's about the highlighting some of the important or the importance of getting the certification from PMP certification. Okay. Now let us start with a quick definition of what is a project, and then we will go more into what is project management. So a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. It is a temporary endeavor. So when I say temporary endeavor, it is like so don't confuse with temporary and permanent. So temporary means it is a time limited. So it is a time limited effort. So any project will have a clear end date and clear big start date and clear end date. So the objective of the project is to create a unique product, service, or result. For example, if a oil and gas company, so they are starting a new oil well, and they are planning that they will be just working on that creating that infrastructure for 5 years. And then after 5 years, the facility will just produce around 100 billion barrels of oil every day. So that's a project, right? Because in that place, in that location, there was no oil supply production at that point of time. And because of this project, now the unique product is delivered. Right? For example, a training company, so they have been offering only Lean Six Sigma, and now they decide that they will also get into the PMP training and certification. So again, they will just create all the content. They will get the ATP authorized training provider, so accreditation from PMI. Then they will again employ some people for getting the lead prospective candidates and so on. And then after some time, maybe after 1 year, then every month they will be running the PMP class, and then that becomes the operation. But till the time they start, till the time they just make it into a regular day-to-day work, we call it as a project. So even running you're celebrating a birthday, right, of your son or a daughter or a sister, or taking care of the marriage of your brother or sister. So even those all also can be called as a project, right? Because it fits into this definition. So you celebrate a birthday party. So it's just start maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, make a plan, and then spend the money, then invite the people, arrange for dinner and some entertainment, and then you just do formally close, right? So, so don't think that projects can be applicable only for your professional life. It is also a personal life. It is also applicable for personal life. So, there are three major characteristics of a project. You are going to produce a unique product or service or capability. Say, for example, maybe as I told you, um, previously you are not capable of producing some product, but now we are doing an R&D project, and then you have developed a new project with the customer is required. So that is a new capability. Results. So previously your yield was very low. Now you are now taking a project to improve the yield. So from 80%, it has increased to 90%. So again, that is unique. Right? So again, it's temporary. Again, it has a clear start and end date, and the project can be stopped when you are able to achieve the target, when the objectives are reached, or maybe you have to cancel the project because there was a problem, maybe external or internal problem, because of which you could not complete the project, so it can be cancelled. Or maybe the customer himself may say that project no longer the product or service what you are trying to produce is no longer required by you. So these are the occasions in which the project can be closed. And it is progressively elaborated. So means at the beginning, maybe you may not have all the information about the product or service, what you are trying to make. But over a period of time, you get more and more information about that. And then you will be able to plan and execute the project. So that's what is. So these are the three main characteristics of the project. So you are going to produce a unique product, service, and result, temporary interview, and it is progressively developed. So the project management. So what is a project management? So how do you define project management? So the project management, as per the old definition, so the definitions of the projects, you can say that initially the PMI, maybe every 4 to 5 years, they release a guideline document, which is called as a PMBOK. That is project management body of knowledge. Project management body of knowledge. Every 5 to 6 years, they will just update the concepts and the tools, and then they will release it. And so starting from when the first edition was released in 1984, and the sixth edition was released it was the first edition. In 2016, the sixth edition was released, and in 2021, the seventh edition was released. So from 1984 to 2016, that means from first to sixth edition, there was no major change in the basic structure of the project management, which we are going to discuss shortly now. But in the seventh edition, there was a major structural change was there, aligning to the changing requirements of all the businesses, right? All the different verticals. So as per the old definition, that is as per the PMBOK sixth definition, the definition of project management is application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. So how we are going to apply your knowledge, project management knowledge, and then skills, that is interpersonal skills. So your leadership skills, how you are going to get the work done by the project team member. So the interpersonal skills and leadership skill, and the tools and techniques, what you are going to learn from this PMBOK. Right? So how we are going to apply all these into your project activity, so that you will be able to complete the project on time and before budget. Okay? So the success of the project was defined based upon the completion of the project on time and below budget as per the 2016. That is the PMBOK 6 version. Right. So this is how it was evolved. So the first PMBOK was first edition was released in 1996. Then second, third, fourth. So you can see the sixth edition was 2017 and seventh edition was 2021. So you can see that from the first to six, there was no major changes in the structure. So we are talking about some knowledge areas and some process groups and the processor. Only the numbers were increasing, but the basic structure was same. So we had five process group and 10 knowledge area, and the number of processes again went up steadily. It was going up. But in the seventh edition, the basic structure itself was changed. And then now we are talking about 12 project management principles and 8 performance domain. Right? So what is the basic structural change that has happened? Because of the emerging trend in the project management across the different domains. So that's what we are going to cover today. So as per the previous version, that is as per the up to the PMBOK 6 version, as I was telling you, there are 5 process groups are there. Initiating process group. So how we are going to initiate the project. So your senior management just to do some market analysis and then check whether there is a what is the need for product or service. And if you are going to create a facility for providing that product or service, whether you'll be able to make some profit out of that particular product or service. Right? So they will do a market research, and once they find that it is viable, then they will just work out with a high level business case, and then they will start the project, and then the project planning will happen. So again, we'll have to plan the project from different aspects of the project management. Right? So how we are going to you will have to plan how we are going to manage the scope of the project, how we are going to manage the schedule, cost, quality, resources, communications, etc. So you'll have to make a detailed planning, and then we'll have to integrate all those aspects into a single document called as a project management plan. Right? So once you make the plan ready, then you will have to execute the plan. Right? So you will have to execute the plan by allocating the resources, giving them the task, delivering the product or services to the customer, managing the quality, and identifying and responding to the risk and everything. So you will just execute whatever the planning you are done as per the project management plan, you will execute. So while you are initiating, planning, and executing the project, again you will have to monitor and control. Because again, that is very important, because again, whenever you are executing the project, so whether your schedule is on target or not, whether there is a deviation, whether there is a delay, and about your budget, whether you are spending too much or too less. So how far there is a deviation, you are against the budget. Then quality, how far your quality is the scope. So whether you are doing as per the scope or not. So we have to track all those performance of all those metrics. And then if there is a deviation, then again you have to discuss as a team and then take some immediate corrective and preventive action so that the deviations can be addressed. But if because of some uncontrollable environment, if you are not able to meet any of these scope or schedule or task, then you should be able to convince your management and your stakeholders. Tell them that because of this reason, then the schedule cannot be met, or the budget cannot be met, and then schedule or budget has to be extended. Right? And then once they understand and approve, then you can work on the revised budget or the schedule. So if you are if you have to manage a successful project, it is not that whatever you have planned at the beginning of the project about the schedule and budget, you have to always be meeting that. If you are able to convince all your stakeholders and management and just get the extension from them, and again you are able to finish within the extended time or budget, that also will show that you are a good project manager, right? Then you will have to formally close the project. So once you have given the started producing the deliverable, then you just give it to the user, for the stakeholder. Either they may be an external customer, or they may be somebody from your own organization, that is the production people. So for example, if you are developing a new product, then you develop the product, do some trials, and once it is ready for bulk production, then you hand over to the production. If you are writing some software for a bank or an insurance company, and once the software is ready, and then it is tested, and then the user acceptance testing has been done at the customer end, and they have accepted it, then you can just hand over to the customer. so that they will start using that software. Right? So till the time you have to handhold them, and then you have to formally close the project. So they will first accept it, and then you have to guide them through how they are able to use it in their day-to-day activity. Right? And then again, you will be making some closing report, and then you will make some documents like lesson learned documents, etc. So you will formally close the project. So in the while initiating the project, you make a formal document called as a project charter that is going to give a high level information about the project. And then you, in the planning, you make a document called as a project management plan that will give a complete idea about how the project is going to be managed from the 10 different aspects of the project. Then during the executing phase, you are going to execute the plan. And then while you are planning and executing, you are also going to monitor and control if any deviations are there, so that corrective and preventive actions can be taken. And then you will formally close that meeting. So this is what is the 5 process steps. Again, as I told you, there are total of in as per PMBOK 5, there were 47 processes, and as per PMBOK 6, there were 49 processes. So for each process, then what should be the inputs, what should be the tools and techniques that should be used, and what should be the output. So all those things were clearly defined. Right? So it was more of a very prescriptive way of project management. But this approach, as per PMBOK 6, had its own limitation, right? Especially over the last 20, 30 years, with the computers and the software development. Now, as we know that over the last 20, 30 years, there has been a drastic increase in those activities. And the change started in the year 2001, when the some of the technocrats who were developing the software, they met in USA, and they in 2001, and then they just discussed about what action they can take, because again they had a lot of problems. So you know that in the software development, then the customers were unable to give their requirements upfront, because they themselves were not really knowing what to expect. So they gave some vague requirement, and then based upon the vague understanding of the requirement, the developers developed and then gave it to the user for testing. Then the users were finding that it was not at all usable, and then they gave some other changes and requirements. So it was going on and on. Maybe I think most of you will be able to relate it to your own area of work, right? For example, you are in manufacturing, or you are in some service company, and you are doing some work manually. So you want that to be automated. So you give a requirement to your software team, but again, there is a lot of struggle. It doesn't happen right first time, right? A lot of struggle is happening. So there was a problem being faced by the software in the year 2001. And they came out with a solution, which was called as the Agile methodology. So this Agile methodology radically changed the way the projects are managed. So as per the PMBOK 6, it was overly process centric. So you need to do a lot of extensive documentation, and all those tools and techniques were prescriptive. And if the customers, if they want to make any changes, then they'll have to, that change control is a very rigorous process. So the customer has to give the request, then that will be reviewed by the organization. Then it will go for the approval by the senior management, and so on. So it becomes a very difficult exercise for the customer. So it was overly process centric. So the focus was more on the documentation rather than the creating the value for the customer. So you can see that the one of the major reasons why projects are taken up in any organization is to create value for the organization. Right? For example, a company is now starting a new oil well. So that means what is the purpose? Because they want to increase the revenue by maybe $200,000, and then they want to get a profit of 20,000. Right? So they will be making some money. Same way, whenever a software company is approached by a bank for creating a ERP or a automation workflow automation system. So by supplying that software, the organization software company is going to make some revenue, make some money. and the bank is also going to benefit by reducing the manpower, right? So in both the way, the supplier as well as the customers are getting benefit. But as per PIMBOK 6, the focus was not really on whether the value was created for the organization as well as for the customer. The focus was more on the documentation, and the changes were becoming very difficult. So the PIMBOK 6 was inflexible for the agile or the fast changing environment. So low adaptability. So whenever the customers came out with some changes, because again, the customers are driven by their own markets. So when their own markets were demanding some changes, and then they came back and asked that to be implemented in the project, then there was a lot of resistance, right? Because again, if you are going to implement the change, again the scope is going to be increased, then the schedule is going to be delayed, and budget is going to increase. So they were finding it very difficult to convince the software development companies, right? So there was PIMBOK 6 was quite inflexible, not very adaptive to the changing requirement. So the third point was about it was limited focus on outcomes. So if the project was completed, the entire scope of the project was completed within the time and within the budget, so that means the project was completed, right? So whether the organization and the customers, whether they got the value for the investment they have made. So that was not a focus area. So I'll just give an example. So it is just like a operation success, but patient death. Right? So I have completed everything, but if the customer is unable to use the software, maybe there was some other problem. But as a project manager, I cannot take the responsibility. Right? For example, the software company, they develop a ERP for a period of 3 years, and then they supply to the bank who had requested this automation tool. But again, after 3 years, once they just want to implement, a lot of problems are coming, a lot of resistance is there in the bank employee, and then ultimately that has to be scrapped. So that means the customer, they have not really got the value. So the PIMBOK 6 was not actually giving any guarantee that the customers will get what they want, what they are expecting. So there was a limited focus was on the outcomes. So minimal people or soft skills. So again, the project team, how it was formed, it was not a very synergetic team. So a lot of there was a lack of collaboration, empathy, leadership was there. So all those things have been now included in the PIMBOK 7, right? So the people skill was not considered to be very important as per the PIMBOK 7. Restricted adaptability, so limited guidance across the industries and project sites. So the agile methodology was taking care of the change in project management approach for the software development. But in the other domains like the construction or oil and gas or new product development, again based upon the industries or project sizes, so not they were not at all adaptive, and then a lot of problems were there. So one of the major limitations was it was the end-only delivery. So that means whatever the product or service you are going to deliver, that will be delivered only at the end of the project, maybe after 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. So by the time maybe there's already a lot of technological changes happen, geographical changes happen, political changes have happened. So whatever the product or service you may be delivering may not be meeting the customer requirement. So no continuous usable sub-products, right? So the customers were getting the product only at the end of the project. They were not getting at the intermediate stage. So these are the major limitations of the PIMBOK 6. So in order to overcome this, then as I was telling you, in 2001, the Agile methodology came into existence and exclusively for the software development. So they came out with the 4 core values. The 4 core values of it is actually 4 core value and 12 agile principles, right? So it came up with the 2001. So we'll have a look at what are the main things on this agile manifesto. So the 4 core principles of agile refers to the agile manifesto values, which guide the agile project management and the software development. So this you have to remember that this agile manifesto was released in 2001, and it was focusing only on the software development project, not any other vertical, right? No construction project, no oil and gas, no new product development in manufacturing. This Agile Manifesto and the Agile Project Management was initially executed only in the software development. And the first core values say that individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So as I was telling you, the Pinboxing was talking about following the 49 processes from the end-to-end project, and a lot of tools and techniques were prescribed for each and every project, every phase of the project. So you have to necessarily use all those things, and irrespective of whether that project is a small project or a large project, whether it is a 1 week project or a 20 years old project. So there was no guidelines of how you can differentiate, right? So all those 49 processes have to be applied for these all the projects, irrespective of their sizes and complexity and customer requirement and so on. Right? So there was more of a very restrictive type of approach was there. So the agile approach, they gave a lot of importance should be given to the individual, means the project team members who are going to do the project. So they are very important. Their motivation is very important. So that is the basic concept here. And interactions. So always you should be able to interact with the customer. So you always interact with the customers, and whatever the changes they are telling, you should be able to immediately implement in your product or service and then give it for the testing to them. So this constant interaction with the customer and self-empowered team. So these are important rather than following a very strict processes and tools. So that was the first concept. Second one is working software over comprehensive documentation. So typically, if a ERP with 10 modules, if there is a requirement there, then in many companies, what will happen is first 9 months to 12 months will be spent only on the documentation, collecting all the requirements and then documenting it, then sharing the document with the customer and then getting it rectified. And then by the time you get the final approval for the document, it may take about 12 months. Right? So a lot of extensive documentation on the aspect in that thing. There was a old way of traditional way of managing, but now as per the Agile Manifesto, working software. So that means instead of delivering the end deliverable, one single deliverable at the end of the project, so cut that deliverable into smaller parts. Right? For example, your scope of the project is to deliver a ERP system with 10 modules, the purchase module, stores module, then production module, quality module, maintenance, and so on. So instead of collecting the requirements, documenting all the 10 modules, and then delivering all the 10 modules, don't do that. First, ask the customer which is going to add more value to it, which is a very high value item module for that. So maybe the production module is the high value item. So if you are going to supply, the organization is going to get more revenue, and the customer is going to get a lot of benefit by the reduction in manpower. Then the software company, they will start working with them working on the production department, right? Production module. And then maybe in the first 3 to 4 months, they will work only on the production module. And as they are developing, they will be constantly interacting with the customer to get the clarify any doubt. They will also give some demos to the customer, and whatever the feedback the customers are giving, that will be incorporated, right? So this delivery of small parts, so that the customers also will be able to start getting their output from the 3rd or 4th month, and the software company also will be able to generate some revenue. So we call this concept as a minimum viable product. It means whatever the product or service you are trying to offer at the end, don't wait till the end. Then you just slice them into the different pieces, and then piece by piece you deliver over a regular interval, so that both the organization as well as the customers will be able to get the benefit. They will be able to get the value. That is the second part. Third one is customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So whenever any changes are requested by the customer, then immediately, if you are going to point out that this is not as per the contract. So this is a new thing. So there's going to be a change control system. So if you are going to tell the customer, then after a point of time, the customer is going to be frustrated. So in the agile methodology, working along with the customer and accommodating all their requirements and the changes, that will get more priority when compared to the originally agreed contract with the document. Right? So it is not that for a $1 million value of project. So we are want to take care of the changes to the customer. So at the end, it may become say 1.5 or 2 billion. It is not like that. But what will happen is when the customers are coming up with a new requirement, then again, along with the customer, again we will have to work out and then see what can be deleted. Right? So if you are going to add something, then what can be deleted? So definitely there will be consensus can be arrived at so that the project can be managed within the same time and budget. Right? And if the features what you are going to add is going to add more value, that is also fine. Right? So that's the third one, customer collaboration or the contract negotiation. And the fourth one is responding to changes or following a plan. So instead of following a very rigorous plan, then just how you are going to respond to the changes given by the customer, that becomes. So that's why we call it agility, right? Agile. You have to be able to fast in reacting to meet the customer requirement, right? So these principles promote the adaptability, customer satisfaction, and team empowerment. So all these things can happen only if the project team, they will be able to plan and execute the project. If the instruction has to come from the project manager and then lot of documentation has to be done, this cannot be done. So that is a major change in the Second, the four core principles gave rise to 12 agile principles. So the customer satisfaction became very important, meeting the changing requirement, frequent delivery. So that's what I told you, minimum viable product. So cut down the original deliverable into manageable part and then deliver it regularly. Regular communication with the different stakeholders, motivated individuals, that is the self-empowered teams. Face-to-face meeting, always interact with the customer, especially not through telephones or emails or WhatsApp messages. Face-to-face meetings with customers are engaged because according to a survey, 67% of the communication is happening only by the body language. Okay? So if you are going to give an email or if you are going to talk over the phone, you may not be able to get that 67% of the communication. You will not have any access. So face-to-face meeting is the most preferred way of communication as per this agile manifesto. Measure outputs. So whenever you are creating the output, again you measure the outputs, whether it is meeting the customer requirement. Then sustainable development processes. So keep it very simple. Don't complicate the process of developing the software. Technical excellence and good design. So always go for the latest design. So don't again use the Fortran language, maybe it was 50 years old. So don't use the 50 years old language for programming. So whatever the latest technology in terms of the coding language or in terms of the servers and in terms of cloud, etc. So always go for the latest technology because that is what is going to give you that advantage. That simplicity, again, make it very simple. Self-sufficient or the self-organized team and continuous improvement. So again, even when you are, for example, you are developing the 10 modules of the ERP. So first module, maybe you are coding with Java, and then you are finding that some challenges are there. Your productivity is a bit low. Then at the end, you discuss as a team and then see whether instead of Java, if you are going to use Python, then what will happen. Then maybe you can just implement the coding with the Python in the next next module. If it is going to work, fine. Then your efficiency is going to improve. If it is not going to work, that is a learning for you. And then see what else can be done. So that's what we call the continuous improvement mindset. So until unless the team members are working with a continuous improvement mindset, the agility and the agile methodology cannot be implemented. So these are the 12 agile principles. So based upon so we had a original way of managing the project as per the book 1 to 6. There was focusing more on the process groups, knowledge areas, and pertinent processes. Right? So strictly following all those processes, the tools and techniques and inputs and outputs. It was very rigid. so not able to meet the changing requirement of the customer. So that's why again the 2000, the agile methodology came, and it was in existence for almost 15 years or 20 years. Then from 2016, again the PMI also started working on the same approach. And then they told that if this agile methodology is working well in software, then why it cannot be implemented across the different verticals? Why not in construction? Why not in oil and gas? Why not in new product development in manufacturing? Right? So then they started developing this. So the PMBOK 7. So the old definition I have already shown you, that is the application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirement, and completing the project on time, below budget was the major success criteria as per the old definition. But as per the new definition, that is as per the PMBOK 7, the definition of project management is projects do not simply produce the outputs. So delivering the final product or the service is not the main aim, but more importantly, enable those outputs to drive outcomes. So what are the purpose of making this product or service? Right? So if you are delivering a software, so what is the purpose of delivering the software? So what value or what advantage the organization has to get, and what advantages the customer has to get because of the outcome of the project, and whether these advantages or these benefits or these values have been achieved or not. So that becomes the most important criteria, right? So just by doing the operation success, declaring that the operation success is not going to be no more relevant. Whether the patient is now living healthy, right? Whether the patient is now live and healthy. So that is what is more important. So enable those outputs to drive outcomes that ultimately deliver value to the organization and the stakeholders. So whether the projects are delivering value to the organization and stakeholders, that becomes the most important focus area. So based upon that, again the PMI, they came up with their own 12 principles. So again, don't confuse these agile 12 principles are entirely different from these project management principles from PMI. Right? Only the number 12 is same, but the concepts are entirely different. So we talk about 12 different principles. So that is the stewardship. So again, we will be covering that in the next slide, one by one. So what is the major difference and how it is going to impact the project? We will be learning now. And then this 12, following this 12 project management principle will manifest in 8 performance domains. Right? So now we will be learning about this how these 12 principles can be applied in a construction project. Right? So the first principle says that be a diligent, respectful, and caring steward. So that means the organization has now selected you to work on the project. So they are providing you the resources and in terms of manpower, material, and machine time. And so you have to have, you should be accountable for the resources given by the organization. And at the same time, when you are doing the project, you are accountable for the environment also. So because of your project, some noise is created or some air pollution is created or water pollution is created, you should not simply leave it like that, right? Because it is your responsibility to protect the environment and protect the people. So again, don't ask them to work extra hours or don't put them under a lot of strain. So you have to careful, you have to be very diligent, respectful, and caring. Right? So, for example, ensure the safe disposal of cement bag, steel scrap, and wood waste, follow safety and environmental standards to protect the workers and residents. Right? So, you should be a responsible person who should be able to take care of all the stakeholders and the environment as well as the society as well as your project. That is the first principle. Second principle is create a collaborative project team environment. So again, whenever always as a project manager, you have to be a very good coordinator between the project team and the stakeholder. So in a construction project, holding the coordination meeting between the architects, civil engineers, electricians, plumbers to avoid clashing. Right? So again, some overlap will always be there. So how we are going to manage the team, how we are going to create a collaborative working environment for the project team. So that is the second principle. Third one is effectively engage with stakeholders. So always constantly interact with the stakeholder understand the requirement, and then see how those changing requirements can be incorporated in the project. So typically, as per the PMBOK 6, you just give only the status update report to the stakeholder. So what is the current state with respect to the schedule, cost, and the scope? Only that status report you give to the stakeholders. That is what is the communication that happens. But as per the PMBOK 7, then you have to constantly interact with them, get their requirement, and then see how that can be accommodated in the project. So conduct weekly progress update with the homeowners association and investors to align on timelines, budgets, and design choices. Right? Even if they are suggesting something different, if it is going to add more value to them, then that should be incorporated. Fourth one is focus on value. As I told you, the value, delivering the value to the customer and the organization is now the focus area. So choose the durable, cost-effective tiles and material that reduce the long-term maintenance instead of going with the cheapest option. So again, as I told you, your objective is not to just reduce the cost by going for some inferior quality raw material, because that may have a long-term problem. So you just have a long-term view and then focus on what the long-term value is going to be delivered to the customer. So you will give preference. Then recognize, evaluate, and respond to system interaction. So, for example, typically in any project situation, so people from the different departments, for example, in a construction project, the carpenters will be working, the painters will be working, plumbers will be working, electricians will be working. So different department people, again, they will be, if there is a problem, then they will put the blame on somebody else, right? And then the project is going to be affected. So again, when the project there is a delay, then the project manager may say that there was a problem, delay in getting the raw material. So the purchase department is responsible for that. Then the purchase department will say that the supplier has failed. So the blame game will be going on. But in the PMBOK 7, then you will have to understand what are all the possible problems that can happen because of the other departments or the other stakeholders. And then you should be able to proactively take some corrective action. For example, assess how changes in foundation design affect the drainage, plumbing depth, and electrical conduit to prevent fast failure. So always you should be thinking in a proactive manner. So how we can, if there something else is going to fail, then how we are going to make up for that. Always you should be having a system support, right? Sixth one is demonstrate leadership behaviors. So whenever the leadership is actually a very important component of the PMBOK 7, we call it as a servant leadership. We call this a servant leadership. So as per the old way, that is the PMBOK 6, we call that a directional leadership. So that means you give some instructions to the team members, and the sponsor will give the instruction to the project manager, and the project manager will give the instruction to the project team, right? And then that will be followed. So that is what is the as per PMBOK 6. But as per PMBOK 7, the basic concept is there is a lot of trust that the team will take care of the planning and execution of the project activity. And as a project manager, you will have to ensure that you are providing all the resources, all the clarity and the requirements for the customer. And if any roadblocks or any resources becomes a problem, then you should be able to coordinate with the other agencies and get the resources and remove the obstacles so that the team will be able to maximize their output. So that is the basic concept of leadership, project management leadership aspect of work. For example, when heavy rains delay work, we plan indoor tasks and keep the team motivated rather than allowing workshop. So how you are going to, whenever something different is, something is not happening as per plan. So how you are going to manage that, right? So that's what is the leadership. Then seventh one is about tailor based on context. As I was telling you in aspect PMBOK 6, again, irrespective of whether it's a small project or a very big project, same processes has to be about. There is no guideline how we can differentiate. But in the PMBOK 7, again, there's a in the structure itself, supervision is given to tailor. So use spreadsheets for a small villa project, but adapt the software like the MS project or Primavera for larger apartment. So if you are going to work on a simple project, then simple Excel and Google Sheets will do. But if you are going to work on a complex project, then you have to go for the software. So you can tailor based upon what project. Eighth one is build quality into processes and delivery. So again, one of the basic concepts is quality should not be inspected. Quality should be built into the product and process. So implement the stage-wise inspections like the foundation curing, steel placement, concrete surface, etc. Instead of waiting for the final inspection, final completion check. So at the end, after the project is completed, coming with the list of the problems that has been found. So that is not going to help anyone. So instead of that, just to see right from the raw material, how we are going to do this inspection at each and every step so that the final output will be reliable. Navigate complexity. So again, the whenever any project becomes complex, right? Especially when the construction is going on. So the civil work will be going on, the plumbing work will be going on, and electrical work will be going on, carpentry. So multiple work is going to happen. So it becomes more complex. Then how we are going to cut them into small pieces and how we are going to coordinate the different departments so that we will get the required output. So that's what the navigate complexity. Understand the complexity of the project and then see how we can simplify those complex tasks so that the project can be completed. So manage dependencies between the contractors, that is the civil, fabric, and interiors, so that a delay in one area does not block the entire project. 10th one is about optimize risk responses. So any risk, whatever is there, it should proactively should be able to identify and then take some proactive action so that you will be whenever that risk is actually happening, then you will have some plan for that. For example, identify risks such as the labor shortage or cement price hike and mitigate by signing a backup labor contract or bulk purchase agreement. So these are some of the actions you can proactively take so that the risk can be totally eliminated or can be mitigated to a great extent. 11th one is embrace the adaptability and resiliency. So again, whenever the customer requirements are changing, we should be able to adapt yourself and then see how it can be incorporated and resilience. So whenever you are doing something and then something fails, then again, don't consider that as a failure and then demotivate the team and then you yourself are getting demotivated. So that is not the right way of managing the project. So whenever the failure happens, then you just try to find out what are the lessons you have learned from this failure and then how we can do what you have to do next. So always think about the future, like how you are going to do what you have learned from the failure and from that failure, what different you are going to do in the next one. So that's what we call the resilience. So, for example, adapt the BIT project to new regulations like adding rainwater harvesting without delaying deadline. Right. The last one is enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. So, whatever the changes are given by the customers, ultimately, what they are visualizing that at the end of the project, the customer should be doing. So it should ensure that that is happening. Whatever they are envisioning, that future state, we should be able to deliver to the customer. So transition from traditional brick to eco-friendly fly ash brick and integrate solar panels to achieve a green building machine. Right? So always try to give the best of the product. So don't try to go by the again the meeting time or the meeting the schedule or within the cost, that becomes a minor issue. So how we are going to deliver value to the customer on a long-term basis, that becomes a problem. So that was about the major, the 12 project management principle. Okay. So that is what is currently now going on. So this Finbox 7 is applicable across the different verticals, different domains. So now it is not limited. Agile methodology is not limited only to the software. By this Finbox 7, now it is being now spread across the different verticals. So what is the emerging trend? Maybe in the next 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, what is going to come? So now we are talking about the 12 project management principles and 8 performance domains. So from that, we'll be moving on to how we are going to practice it. So the tailor the principle to fit the project context. So each and every project, so it should be like viewed as a different entity and then see what the best you can do, what best you can do in the project so that the project will be delivering more value to the customer, right? So how we are going to practice all those principles and then make it more efficient. So that will be the focus. Embed the continuous feedback loops. So constantly keep on getting the feedback from the customer so that the product or service is going to be defined. Then drive the outcomes with KPIs. So always see whether the value you are able to get for the project, whether you are, whenever you are failing something, whether you are able to bounce back immediately, whether you are able to sustain. So this will, again, you pick some KPIs for that, and then you will be driving those KPIs, key performance indicators, right? So whether the value has been created, whether you are able to bounce back quite fast, and then whether you're able to sustain and not practice. So that is the first step. Second one is, again, we are now talking about the agile methodology, then predictive methodology, and the old way of working. Then hybrid, actually, it is a combination of agile and waterfall. So, for example, you are working in a construction project, and the customer requirements are quite changing. So they are giving a lot of changes, but the environmental requirements and fire safety requirements are same. They are not going to change. So now you can follow a approach so that that part of the project, which is not going to change much, which is going to be stable, you can just do a detailed planning and then follow the old way of working. That is the predictive methodology. And then for the customer requirement, whatever is changing quite frequently, you can use the agile method. So combining the agile and waterfall, we call it the hybrid. But in the future to come, even we call it the blended zone. It can be again a mixture of agile, hybrid, and waterfall. So depending upon the context of the project, we just follow an approach. So getting the results is more important than following a process. Okay? That is the basic principle. Use AI to guide the delivery choices. So again, a lot of the even some course has now already come, PMP with the agile tools, right? How agile AI tools, how AI tools can be used for project management, right? So AI tools again is going to do a lot of repetitive work for the project managers are doing. For example, some status report, some information has to be collected from the different stakeholders, and the status report has to be sent, right? Then now those reports, the whatever the routine activities, maybe those will be taken care by the AI, and the project manager can take more time to how we can handling the people or doing some innovation. So that will become the more important work for the project manager. So you use AI tool and the design ecosystem for contacted company. So third major emerging trend is about digital transformation. So the AI co-pilots for the planning, risk, and automation. So whether you want to do the planning or you want to take care of the risk or whether you want to optimize, all those work can be done by the AI tool, right? Because these are all based upon some logic. So whatever can be done by a logic, then you hand over to the AI. Whatever cannot be done by logic, where you need the human interaction, that will be the main focus in the project. More time for the leadership. So automate the reportings and tasks that will be done by the AI tool. The PM will focus on the leadership, and then they will be just a digital orchestration. So they will be again very strong in digitalization and automation. All the routine works will be handed over to the robots or the AI tool, and they will be more managing the people and the innovation. The last one is about the human-centric leadership. So lead with empathy, trust, and influence. Because again, you may have to, the world is expanding quite fast. So you may have to more frequently, you may have to work with the team members with the different religions, different regions, different languages, and so on, different time zones. So that complexity will be there. So how you are going to lead them with the empathy, trust, and influence, that is going to be very important. Enable the cross-cultural and the hybrid collaboration. Practice change leadership, not just change management. So there's a difference between leadership and management. Management is again giving direction to the people and then take care of the short-term activity. Whereas the leadership is more of a collaborative approach. So get the feedback or get the opinion from the team members and all the stakeholders, evolve a consensus and then work on it. And then you just have a long term. So you should start practicing the change leadership, long term and people oriented rather than a short term approach. Okay. So these are the emerging trends in the coming few years. So now I'll just talk a bit about iSkills, our company, how it will help you in terms of the project management. So first I'll give a small introduction about the company. So we are iSkills is a globally trusted consulting and training organization. So we deliver the training mainly in the areas, mainly for the process improvement related courses, like the PMP, Lean Six Sigma, Black Belt, and green belt and yellow belt, and ISO 9001 internal auditor, Kaizen 5S, so lean principle. So all the problem solving and quality improvement and process improvement methodologies are good. So, and we are actually offering this online or the classroom or corporate training. And our major customers include Hyundai Motors, TEV Germany, and L&T Wars, Tata Communications, Mahindra Finance, Standard Chartered Bank, Pfizer Healthcare, Amazon, etc. So they are our major customers. So I'm basically a BTech graduate from IIT Varanasi, and I have 30 years of experience in the various industries, both in manufacturing and IT service. And I also have a very good exposure to the software development processes. So I have a lot of practical experience. And again, for the last 10 years, I am just doing this training and consulting. So overall, I have 40 years of experience in various fields and various functions. So I am a certified master black belt in Lean Six Sigma and also a certified PMP since 2011. So, and I have a hands-on experience in applying the best practices of project management to complete the projects on time. So the program highlights why you should select our organization for the PMP training. So we are actually the authorized training partner for PMI. So we are now authorized to give this 35 hours training certificate, which is the mandatory requirement for taking the exam. And you also get the access to the live online expert train. So normally we go for the individual participant, we go for the online instructor-led training session. And again, I will just show you the slide decks. So again, these are all very easy to understand with a lot of pictures. And again, you will also be having a case study. So whatever the area or whatever the industry you are working, so we will be teaching you how we can, as and when you complete a lesson or complete a topic, then again, we will make you with the help of the chat GPT to see how those concepts and tools can be applied in your area of work. That is very important. Once you are able to relate it to your area of work, then only the understanding will be better, and then we will make you to do that with the help of the AI. So again, you will be exposed to a full-length mock exam and with explanation. So we have made some 7 mock tests. So the last 2 will be having the same difficulty level as per the PMP exam. So we will again conduct a weekly follow-up meeting for all the participants and to address any doubts, doubt clarification session, or some giving some examination tips and all. So our motto, our aim is to ensure that all our students are clearing the PMP exam. It is not that we deliver the training and then leave it to the students or the participants to prepare for the exam. So we handhold them, and then we have the interactive quizzes and the different agile scenario exercises and also there. So we also give the guidance for the application tooling and post-training doubt clearing. So again, we have a lifetime, we have a mobile app. I will just show you where all the recordings and the study material will be there, and then quizzes and the mock tests will be there. So either you can just access through, mostly you can access through the mobile, and then you'll be able to just at any time, every time, you can just revise and then do the preparation. So the deliverables, program deliverables, so 35 hours certificate, PB certificate. So free 1 year access to the official PMI. So you'll be providing the PMI, official PMI study material. So again, we'll be having the access to our mobile app where the study material, mock test, and the recorded sessions will be uploaded. Again, we'll give the application guidance and personalized one-to-one. If you really require a one-to-one session, we can always arrange for that. So post-training mentorship. So this is what is the certificate given by us, and we are the authorized training partner. So I'll just briefly give you an overview of our study material just to get an understanding.
So I have one question. May I ask one question?
Yeah, just 2 minutes. You give me time. I'm just finishing maybe 3-4 minutes, and then it will be open for the questions. Right? Okay. So this is again the presentation that will be. So you can see that with a lot of pictures, easy to understand. So again, it is aligning to the official material given by PM. Right? So it's simple to understand with a lot of pictures aligning to the DMN. So this is the study material. So like that we have some 8 to 10 PowerPoint presentations are there. So that will be used in the session. And then you can also see the case studies, right? For example, as I told you, after the each lesson, a case study will be there. So this case study, I have made it for the construction. So whatever the concepts you are learning, so the definition of the project program, and that is the first topic. So how you can relate it to the construction industry, right? Suppose if you are from oil and gas, then you can just see the examples. You can just get it in your own area of work. If you are working for a manufacturing R&D, then again you can just so again with the help of some prompts in AI tools, then you will be able to generate this document. So that once you go through this document, like project management office, what are the different types, then what are the organization structures. So these are the different topics, but with a relevant example. Because if say 20 participants or 15 participants are there in a batch, so I cannot give 15 examples for each of the concept or thing, right? So I can give you just only one example, but again I can make you to just generate an example from your own area of work, so that you are understanding. So you'll be learning with the help of this case study. And then we have this mobile app I will show you. So where all the study material and the quizzes should be uploaded, recording should be uploaded. So you can see that this is what is the study material. So all the lessons, not the PowerPoint presentation should be provided here. Right, whatever you are seeing here. So all the PowerPoint presentations should be provided here. And the videos, the recordings of the sessions, or the sessions recording, so that anytime, every time you can just refer to that. And then you also will have the access to the mock quizzes. So again, you have around 33 quizzes of 10 questions each. So around 660 questions you have. So this is the quizzes you can see. So each question is each lesson, each topic, 10 questions should be there, right? So again, you can just open and then you can answer, and then you will be knowing like how much marks you got, and then which were right and which were wrong. All those things you'll be able to get. And then we also have the PMP mock test. 7 mock tests we have created. Up to mock test 7. So once you answer all those 7, so we can actually we can just validate whether you are exam ready or not, right? So if you are able to go through our presentation, our case studies, and our quizzes and our test, our mock test, then I think you will be very confident of taking the PMP exam. So that's what I just wanted to share with you. Okay. Now I think for any further information or any anything you want to do, any information or anything, you can just contact this number. Okay. So now I think it's open for any questions. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask how much is the course duration and roughly what will be the fees?
The course actually is around 34 hours. So typically, depending upon the convenience of the people, so we conduct the weekday courses, maybe 2 hours from 9 to 11 for some people who are interested in weekday courses. Sunday again for 5 Sundays from 11 to 5:30. So that will be the Sunday batches, and sometimes we also conduct the Friday batches, 4 hours from 7:30 to 11:30, 4 hours, right, for 8 weeks.
Okay.
So depending upon the geography and depending upon the convenience of the people, and again for the price and all, maybe you can contact us. We will get this.
Okay, noted. And what like how much marks is the examination? Like what is the exam like total marks and how it is MCQ, right? Multiple choice
In
questions.
MCQ, multiple choice questions. So there are 180 questions are there in the
For
PMP exam.
240 hours, right? For 240 minutes.
Yeah,
Something
240
like
minutes, 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours,
Okay.
180 questions are there. And
Okay.
even though they have not officially declared what is the percentage of marks you should get for passing, so
Mhm.
the assumption is that around 70%, if you are able to get more than 70%, then
Then
you'll
you
be able
can
to
be
pass.
passed. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are considered to be passed.
yeah.
Okay.
Above 80 means 100% you can be, you can guarantee that it is passed. 70 to 80, maybe there is a risk in that. Above 80 is, you can be very.
Is there any like a certificate, unique certificate number, and we can go to the portal and verify if the certification provided is valid or legit?
Yeah, yeah. So the whatever I have shown you. So this again, we will give you the link. So we will give you the link. This actually is the our authorized training part.
But
This
in
badge
this
was
screen,
issued to.
the certificate which you are presenting is not having like any kind of certificate number or expiry date. Is there any expiry date for the certificate, like expiry time, duration, or period?
There is no expiry date. It is lifelong.
It's a
Maybe the
lifelong, right?
certificate, yeah, lifelong. The
Yeah,
certificate number, unique certificate number is given. So these
yeah.
certificates are issued through the Credly. I
PMI,
don't know whether, yeah, Credly.
PMI, right? Whom?
No, this PMI, the
Mhm.
certificates are issued through Credly. So they are actually, if it will have a unique number, and if
Mhm.
anyone wants to cross check whether these certificates are genuine or not, then they can give the certificate number, and then it will show that we have our organization has issued that certificate. So that
Okay,
validation can be
thanks
done.
a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for clearing my doubts. Actually, I was asking because I am having this ISO lead auditor certificate, but for that there is a duration like expiry 5 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is no expiry for this, right?
Yeah, there's no expiry for this certificate. But once you get this PMP certificate, that PMP certificate is valid for 3 years, and then you have to renew it every 3 years.
Okay, so there
But
is
again,
only
you don't
renewal.
have to take the exam. You don't have to take the exam again. So
Just pay
it's
the
some
renewal fees, yeah.
renewal fees and then some 60 hours of time you have to spend. So that is not a very difficult process.
Okay, okay. Thanks a lot.
ऑर्डर कर ले तो खाना खा के फिर स्टार्ट कर
Any other questions?
Hello.
Yes, Khalil Ahmed. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, what is the during period from the PMC course already complete from the 35 hour this one there. Not
Okay.
from the only Sundays available from this one there.
You are in which country?
From India, Bombay.
Okay. So we conduct from Sunday, say every week. If your weekdays is convenient to you, we conduct from 9 to 11 in the night. Sorry, yeah, 9 to 11, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. for 3 days in a week. So that is for the weekday batch, and then Sunday batch we conduct from 11 to 5:30 for 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Preparing Isha maybe next month starting there.
Yeah. So the Sunday batch may be starting by 9th of November.
9th November,
Week batch is running. So the current batch, weekday batch will be running till the end of November. So that's already just started.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions? So again, I think our aim is to, because again, PMP is not a very easy exam to write. So our aim is to ensure that all the participants who are taking the training from us will clear the exam, and then they will be able to come out, climb up the ladder quite fast, right? So that is our.
So, is this today's training will add as a PDF
Yeah. We can issue the PD certificate. Yeah.
for today, huh?
Yeah, today. So we'll give you 2 hours, 2 PDF certificate.
So how it will we can get for this 2 PDF?
So our people will capture your name, and typically we just give a certificate saying that you have attended this course on this this particular topic.
Means after
But,
that automatically we'll get the certificate.
Yeah, you will get the certificate by say coming Wednesday. You will get the certificate that you have taken part in this session
Okay,
webinar. And these two PDUs you will just exclusively give you. I say two PDUs that we will give you
okay.
separately. Yeah. You are already PMP certificate?
Yes.
Okay. So then you can get that. You can take that as well. So right now, actually, we got so we are now trying to create some courses, which will be authorized by PMI. So we are making those things maybe within 2-3 months. So we'll be having our own online classes and everything. So that will be approved by the PMI, and then automatically you will get the PMI. So the PDU certificate, we'll be doing that in maybe another 3 to 5 months.
So like the training will be there in between some days, or it is the only one training?
So we have, as I told you, we have the weekday batch also. So
Okay.
9 p.m. to 11 p.m., 3 days in a week.
Okay, okay,
So like that, 5 weeks it will go.
okay.